Well, how about that Sparty Claus? Yes, he did read all of our holiday wish lists, and we have got an edge rusher, David Santiago. Come on down.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans, especially if it's, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, any day during the holiday season. Cannot thank you all enough for burning up some of your precious holiday time with us here at Locked On Spartans. And of course, hope you're having a great season, an awesome end to the year. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below if David Santiago is your favorite transfer portal pickup yet, or if there's someone else that's also catching your eye. Now, later in this show, we are joined by Jonah and Abby of the We Got It podcast. I give them some hot takes. They grade it. It was an awesome conversation with them. Now, I will say this. As we recorded that part, well, David Santiago committed. So when we talk about, hey, Matt Golden, the offensive line, the wide receivers, the whole transfer portal, that was all before we even knew that David Santiago committed, but let's just talk about that guy right now because what a nice early present for us Michigan State fans. 6'4", 235-pound edge rusher out of the Air Force Academy. Now, he did play outside linebacker. That's what he was credited for on Pro Football Focus, but you watch some of his highlights, he's pretty much up at that line in the stand-up edge rusher position. So it's not going to be a drastic change of position. He's not going full-blown middle linebacker to this edge rush. It's going to be a pretty natural transition from what he was doing at Air Force to what he will be doing here in East Lansing. Now, let's get to some of the stats out of the 2-year player from Air Force. One of those years didn't play, so he was a redshirt freshman, which means, this is my favorite stat right now, 3 years of eligibility left, but let's talk about the actual on-the-field stats. He had 4 sacks for the Falcons last year, all in the final month of the season, so really had a strong close to the year. And I know you guys are probably sick of me talking about this. This is not a holly nor jolly stat to bring up, but like I said, David Santiago, 4 sacks, all in the final month of the season. That's how many sacks Michigan State had as a team in the final month of the season last year. Just in case anyone forgot how dire the pass rush situation was, that paints a pretty good picture of it right there. Now, David Santiago, he had 23 pressures. I'll bring up a sad stat again. That's, of course, more than anyone on Michigan State. And there's context to be said here. Playing in the Big Ten is a little different than playing in the Mountain West, where David Santiago just played, but nevertheless, you guys know where I'm going with this. It was a catastrophe in the pass rush last year, as we all know. Now, a few more stats. Santiago had an 8.6 win percentage. That's when he's beaten the blocker. That's a Pro Football Focus stat. The only guy that had a better win percentage was Anthony Jones, who will be coming back next year. I'm sorry, anyone at Michigan State that had a better win percentage, I should say. 8.6% win percentage, which is what Santiago had. It's not great. It's not going to set the world on fire. It's not going to get you All-American status, but it's solid, especially for a younger guy, like a redshirt freshman, for example. And one more stat, which is good for Santiago. And, of course, I'm going to throw a not-so-fun Michigan State stat out there. Santiago had 5 batted passes down. That's when a lineman, knocks the ball down at the line of scrimmage. Would anyone out there like to guess how many batted passes Michigan State had on the season, according to Pro Football Focus? Maybe you guys remember one that Pro Football Focus didn't count, but it was 1. Yikes. So not good for Michigan State in the pass rush game. We already know that. I'm sorry that I keep on beating that dead horse, but yeah, there's a reason that we wanted someone at the edge rush position to transfer to Michigan State. They did it. It's Michigan State's 12th transfer overall. Their second edge rusher. They got Lafayette out of Wisconsin not too long ago, who didn't play for Wisconsin in his freshman year, but comes in as one of the higher rated guys out of that 2024 class. A lot of untapped potential there is the hope. And I guess if you want to count a third one, we have Leonard Ayu. Now, this is a guy that signed at Oregon State 2023, never actually went there, went on a mission trip, so signed with this 2025 class for Michigan State. So technically part of the recruiting class, old enough to be considered a transfer, but yeah, we'll see what happens there with those three new faces. Now, Santiago, his offer sheet in the transfer portal wasn't, jumping off the page by any means. Eastern Michigan, Florida Atlantic, Louisiana Monroe, South Alabama, and UTEP were the other ones offered, according to Spartans Illustrated. But why am I so excited about this one? Like, why is my excitement not matching probably his offer sheet or, whatever his ranking was? Is it just because it's four limbs and a, functioning heartbeat at the edge? Well, yeah, kind of. Could use anyone in this positional room right now. You already heard all those stats I just named. But more importantly, it's 3 years of eligibility and proven experience. That's a great cocktail of things of what you're looking for in the transfer portal. It's a guy that has an established floor. Yes, didn't add a group of 5 level in the Mountain West. But hey, you know what? You know what his floor is. You know that he's somewhat competent with room to grow, hopefully. And for Michigan State, realistically speaking, is this as good as it gets in the transfer portal? This is a strong pickup here because, sure, I want Patrick Payton or Jack Pyburn, the two guys from Florida and Florida State that transferred to LSU, instant game changers. Sure. Of course, we want, the 4-star transfers, but realistically speaking, that's not where Michigan State is right now, for example. They're not shelling out high 6 figures, maybe even low 7 figures for a single position on the line right now because, well, it's not go for it time, but more importantly, more honestly, they got to use a lot of money elsewhere. Not sure if you guys saw, not the greatest season for Michigan State last year. They have a lot of things they need to shore up here. So if you're being smart with your money, realistically speaking, okay, well, let's get a guy that's young, with eligibility left, that showed that he could do something at a different level, maybe even lower power 4 or a group of 5. Well, there it is right there. They got David Santiago. Now, I'm not saying, let's not twist my words here. I'm not saying that, the second coming of William Golston is coming here. Or I'm not saying that Kenny Willekes is suiting back up and he's back, baby. No, it's a solid player with hopefully room to grow. I think that's all you can ask for here out of the transfer portal with how many needs Michigan State has on their list. So curious about the defensive line, what it looks like if the season started tomorrow. I think Santiago gets one of those starting roles. Maybe it would be Anthony Jones at that stand-up rush position, but nevertheless, maybe Jalen Thompson on the other side. It's a floor-raising move out of the portal for Michigan State here. So what else can Sparty Claus bring us? Next on my list is a tackle, offensive tackle. I wouldn't even be upset with a defensive tackle. Anyone that tackles. No, but offensive tackle probably next on my list. We'll see here if Sparty Claus can bring something down the chimney for us here. But T-Bone's dad also wrote in the basketball version of this. Sheehan_sports on Twitter or lockedonspartans@gmail.com for any mailbag questions. If you could get one realistic gift from MSU basketball this Christmas, what would it be? So, of course, health. But, that's, the boring answer. So, we're going to go a little bit deeper than that. And he also did say realistic, okay? So, I'm not going to go wish for Coen Carr to be a 50% shooter from three-point land, or as for Jackson Kohler to have the handles of Tyson Walker, all this. No, we're going to live in the lens of reality here. And it's actually kind of nice because as a Michigan State basketball fan, what do you get the fan that seemingly already has everything this Christmas, right? We got rebounding, we got bench points, we are getting to the free throw line more than we have in years, guys. We have a point guard that actually cares about playing basketball, it seems like. No disrespect, I'll keep this holly and jolly, but I got two realistic ones. Can we bottle up or package up, I guess? Let's keep using, Christmas references. Can we wrap up in a box Xavier Booker's last 5-game stretch? We're talking the FAU game, the Oakland game, Nebraska game, Minnesota, UNC game, okay? Now, I made sure I threw the FAU game in there because that was kind of a stinker, but who cares? Because over that 5-game stretch, 38% shooting from 3. Yeah, you take that all day, especially from Xavier Booker. He also, after the first 7 games where he just had 15 rebounds, guys, over the last 5 games, he's sitting at 27 rebounds. That's not too shabby for our guy Xavier Booker. So what he can do for floor spacing is amazing as well. So it's been a night and day who he was going into that Memphis game, and then bang, who he is ever since that, the 5-game stretch. So that is what I'm going to go with. Xavier Booker delivering the goods in the last 5 games, playing competent basketball. So what else would we want on top of that? Just the team-wide thing. I'll take Michigan State's three-point shooting the last 6 games. Now, all of them haven't been great, but if you bottle up the last 6 games, and that's, even going back to the Memphis game, Michigan State is shooting 37.8%. That is top 50. Now, if I just did the last 5 games, that would be like high 38%, and now we're talking like elite. So I wanted to be realistic here. But if they can shoot the three-point ball like they have the last 6 games, 37.8%, that just gets them inside the top 50. Because right now, like, they are still ranked 329th in the nation at three-point shooting. That's how horrendous they started this season. That even after shooting it pretty damn good the last 6 games, they are still outside the top 300. So yeah, if you can get that, just 37-ish% shooting from 3, my God, guys, like, this would be an incredible team moving forward here. We would all be smiling long after we open up our Christmas gifts. So, all right, guys, enough with the Christmas references. For now, at least, we might have a few with our chat with Jonah and Abby. But first, need to talk all your ears off about Game Time. That's right, the greatest ticketing app out there. Let's say you're scrambling for a gift. Well, I got it. Just go to Game Time. Go find an event, whether it's a Michigan State game. Let's say you live in the Metro Detroit area. You want to go to there, or Grand Rapids, a Griffins game. Guys, like, they have the tickets that you need for all sorts of events, maybe even concerts, comedy shows. It's right there on Game Time. So if you're scrambling, I get it. Who amongst us hasn't procrastinated? Cutting it close to Christmas, Game Time is going to have you covered, and they will save you money with their flash deals, their last-minute ticket deals. If it really is a game that's coming in hot right now, just go on Game Time. Go look at the real view of your seats before you buy the tickets. It is the most user-friendly app you will find out there. And they also want to save you money right off the bat too, guys. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Let's keep it rolling here. Now, it's not just one guest, guys. No, this is the husband-wife duo of the We Got It podcast. It's Jonah, it's Abby. And before we get into Hot or Not, where I spew off my takes and you guys grade them, let's recognize this. For guys that haven't listened to the episode where I joined you, it was a great time. You let me in on a real nice fun fact, one that could be a paradigm shifter for Michigan State football.
Oh, man.
You two, when you go to a game together, have not seen Michigan State lose. Responsible for everything that Michigan State has done well in the football field, or
absolutely?
No,
yes,
absolutely. I think we're the reason that there were some bright spots in the Mel Tucker era, because we saw some big wins during that 2021 season, and
absolutely
even the last couple of seasons where it's been down, it's continued to be wins when we're in the building. So,
how many games do you think we've been to together?
I want to say it's 13.
I was going to say, I think we're over
like
10.
Enough said. That's a large sample size.
And we've been to games separately that they haven't won.
Right.
So
that's how science works. Like I've heard enough. I've seen enough. The proof is in the pudding. If you want to win, Michigan State football staff, which I know they listen to this show, gift these people some season tickets from here on out.
We would say
no.
No. Who could possibly? All right, Jonah. All right, Abby. So when I joined your show, you guys had a great segment called Hot or Not. You guys gave me some hot takes. I had to grade them. So like any good plagiarizer does, like any good talking head does, we're flipping the script. We're turning the tables. I've got some hot takes on Michigan State. You guys have to grade them. Are you guys ready to play your own game, Hot or Not?
I don't know if I'm ready to face the heat.
It's feeling a little toasty in here already.
It's a little easier when we're on the other end of this.
Let me tell you, like this sweater that I'm wearing right now, like it's dazzling while it lights up.
Let's go.
My body temperature is 250 degrees. This is the hottest thing that I have in my closet. So you're not kidding when you're talking about sweating. All right, but we're going to make you sweat because we're going to talk basketball right off the top here. The first hot take is Coen Carr is the most entertaining basketball player to ever watch here at Michigan State. And I know some old heads out there must be like, oh, you didn't watch Mateen Cleaves or Jason Richardson or Mo Ager or Shannon Brown. No. I watched all those guys in my upbringing. Still, Coen Carr, the most exciting Michigan State basketball player to ever grace the floor of Breslin Center. Abby, let's start with you. Is that a hot take or is it not a hot take? Am I tracking here with this?
I don't want this to be a cop-out, but
good start.
I will say that he is the most entertaining player that I have watched in my lifetime.
Okay.
So going back to like late 90s, early 2000s.
What could get us in trouble is like the
I'm
Magic
gonna say
Johnson
that.
era, of course.
I know. And I've seen clips of him, but I think as a fan experience, personally,
He wasn't doing this. Right?
I had a lot
this might
of
be
fun
sacrilegious.
at Breslin on Saturday. I had so much fun. And I will say I opened my social media feeds after some of those dunks, and it was like I had to scroll and scroll and scroll to get to something other than Coen Carr is nasty.
It's the way it should
He's
be.
so much
I was
fun.
watching that game with like my wife.
I'm going to take the hot take and say yes.
Thank you. See, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Because, like, as I'm watching the game, like, my wife's in the room, my 2 kids are in the room.
Yes.
As he had his third dunk, I exclaimed, he's my favorite person on this planet. Even in the room with them, it's like, I'm sorry, you guys just haven't brought me the joy that Coen Carr has. No disrespect. Maybe one day your vertical will get up there. But until then, I haven't seen you guys do anything that this man's doing right now. Jonah, do you agree with this? Is he the most entertaining player, you think?
I'll say this, and maybe this is qualifying a bit too much. From a pure Sports Center top 10, like this guy is just on the highlight reel, play after play after play on both sides of the ball. I would say it's not a hot take. But when I think about prime Cassius Winston, like he wasn't making the above the rim plays, the emphatic dunks, but boy, the plays that he would make when he would pull up on a fast break for 3, or he would drive to the lane and get a shot off that you had no business going into the basket. Like those plays were exciting. I think specifically against Illinois his junior year in Champaign, that shot alley-oop to Xavier Tillman, like there isn't more like an electric moment that you can find outside of that play. So like it's a close one. That's really tough. And like you said, like Coen Carr, like every single play he's making pretty much is exciting.
Yes.
But for me, just like those memories of Cassius Winston just making defenses look foolish out there, it's hard to beat, I think.
Cassius
Something
was
about a 6-foot floater really got you going. I like that. I mean, it was saucy, man. Whenever you got in the paint, pull from 7 feet, just teardrop that in there. Sensational.
Cassius was entertaining in a calming sort of way of like, I'm having so much fun because he's just like so consistently good. Coen Carr is like, you don't know what the heck's gonna happen. Yes, exactly.
No, that's fair. Nobody gets me off my couch more than Coen Carr.
Yes,
that's fair.
Cassius Winston, smooth jazz, and then Coen Carr, headbanging EDM show. It's great.
Yes.
Fireworks and flames everywhere. Any way to slice it, we love them both. All right. Now we're going to go to the football field. Hope you guys enjoyed your time on the basketball court, but it's time
I'm going to
switch
miss it
already. Same. I already miss it too. It's so nice having a great basketball team again. All right.
Amen.
Hey, it's transfer portal season. Don't know if you guys have talked about that on the We Got a Podcast or not. I'm kidding. Of course you guys have. The wide receiver position is the most improved position of the offseason so far. Is that hot? Is it not? Jonah, what say you about the transfer portal cycle here?
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's a pretty valid take. I mean, we've talked about it on I think we've talked about it on our podcast that transfer portal rankings, take them, leave them, love them, hate them. You can go either way with them. But if you look purely from that perspective and a production level, the 2 guys they got in Big Play McCray and Omari Kelly, like from a ranking perspective, they're higher than what you lost in Glover and Isaiah Johnson. Yeah. And they bring a lot more excitement or production than either of those guys did in the green and white. So I think these guys are bringing in, obviously, unproven at the Power 4 level. You don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I think on paper, like it's hard not to say that wide receiver room is improved, especially with what Jonathan Smith wants to do with those receivers and what he did at Oregon State with some of those speedy slot guys. So I think that's a pretty valid take. I don't think that's too hot.
Yeah, was that too warm, Abby? Yeah, I was going to say.
I think the only way that it is a hot take is considering that we have 0 running backs right now. I mean, from last year, we lost Kayron Lynch-Adams, we lost Nate Carter, and I'm terrible with names. I'm completely blanking on the running back that we're bringing in.
Eli Tolliver.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I don't know
purely from that standpoint,
party, but I can name you that running back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good thing. My priorities should be there. No, I love it. You know, I'll venture that of my little twist on it. If you go from no one to someone, that's
I guess it depends how you look at it. If it's post transfer portal exits or say looking at last year's
very
team.
Fair. Yes.
But I'm excited. Both those guys, I think, are gonna give Aiden Childs just some more weapons that he desperately needs.
Mm-hmm. And the offensive line has gotten some help here with Matt Goldman, of course, Luka Vincic. So we'll see. Offensive line is like more of a wait and see thing. Sure, Goldman did it at the ACC, the Power 4 level, but how will they gel? You guys are all State fans already know this. You don't know what you're going to get out of an offensive line until the season actually starts. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. You already know that, but why? Well, I just go ahead and wager on a few things over at Christmas. It's going to be hopping with the NFL, NBA. Do some cross-sport parlays. They will keep your holidays bright and keep you invested in games that maybe otherwise you wouldn't even care about. Like I, for one, quite frankly, kind of sick of watching the Chiefs on my television, but all right, yeah. Fine, you got me. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown. Sure, I guess I'll stay glued to the TV. Why not? The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel. Like I've said, guys, America's #1 sportsbook for a reason, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Now, FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. Like I've already said, I love betting on the anytime touchdown scores. It's been pretty good to me the last few weeks. Let me knock on wood there, but hey, keeps you involved, whether it's a game that you are all in on already, like me with the Lions, or a game you otherwise couldn't, care any less about. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That is FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Now, this next one. Abby, just how petty of a person are you? Because I'm petty. Incredibly petty. Okay, well, let's see how petty, because, this is recent. This was last week's news. But Amy Fullen, athletic director over at Central Michigan, she signed an extension through the 2029 season. Michigan State, Central Michigan, of course, not the greatest recent history with the whole, hey, is that Connor Stallings over there on their sideline thing? And nothing really has been said about it ever since. So I've heard some fans clamoring, hey, you got to cancel these games immediately. Do not face them in 2027 or 2031. But here's where my hot take comes in. And I've said this before in the show, so I apologize if people have heard this before, but don't cancel those games yet. Wait until July 2027, like the last absolute minute you can do this, because you're Michigan State. You can go out and buy a game in 2 seconds. Central Michigan might be a little harder for them to get another team in that spot. So, Abby, we will start with you to cancel the series, but wait as long as humanly possible. They've dragged their feet in this Connor Stallings thing. Oh, you can drag some scheduling feet, can't you? How do you slice that one up?
Not hot. I am the pettiest person ever.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
You want it even longer. You want it like the Friday before. Right. Good.
I'm salty over that whole thing and will be to the end of time. And I hate how people can just bury their head in the sand over it. And it just seems like it went away. So drag their noses in it for as long as you possibly can. Like, someone's got to be held responsible for this crap. And I'll be petty about it. Absolutely.
I mean,
Jonah, are you rational? Are you nicer?
No, I'm not.
He is much more rational than me in general. Okay. We'll see on this one.
I think, though, you have to be strategic about it, where you pull the rug out under them. Not too late, where you still have to maybe, I don't know how the contract works.
Yeah.
Still have to give them a little bit of a payout. So I'm saying make them scramble also for the game.
You're being too logical about this.
Cancel this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you drag logic
either. I'm just trying to do the double whammy, so they get no game and no money.
All right.
No game.
We already know that they're getting some money probably from the folks down the road. So
yeah,
that's not as your percentage. Without getting held up in a slander lawsuit.
Yes,
the chance is never zero with anything in life. That's where
there you go.
It's true.
That's a good way of putting it. That's very diplomatic. I love it.
Now we're gonna go out of basketball. We're gonna go out of football here.
Okay.
Because, hey, volleyball. In the news, Kristen Kelsey named the volleyball head coach here for Michigan State. Now, that's exciting. Going to bring some energy into this program. Volleyball is not just hot in the streets, but specifically in the Big Ten. Like, it is a daunting conference to play the sport of volleyball in. So my take is that MSU volleyball is the non-revenue sport I want to succeed the most here in East Lansing. Now, am I biased because, I play in a Division II beach volleyball league every summer and I just love the sport? Yeah, of course. But I just think it's an electric sport. Like, there's a point every 30 seconds. Fans are on their feet constantly. I just love the sport of volleyball, and I would love to see that once all the non-revenue sports at state succeed the most here. So, Jonah, bat first on this one. Is there another sport that kind of tickles your fancy more and you're saying, nah, give me like baseball, wrestling, water polo, what have you?
Honestly, no. I'm a big Tigers fan. I love baseball. I don't have enough hours in my summer to be able to also watch.
Yeah, that's fair.
MSU baseball. Yeah. I don't really care how good they are. Hopefully, none of the players or coaches are listening to this. But volleyball, you're right. It's an electric sport. There's nothing, especially like think about the Olympics, beach volleyball, indoor volleyball. Like, there's nothing that is more exciting than watching that sport. And I think I could definitely get into. I know I went to a small school in Chicago, and I always showed out for our women's volleyball games. And even at that level, those games are electric and exciting no matter who's out there on the court. So I would say non-revenue sports. I would love to see a competitive women's volleyball team in East Lansing.
I'm torn.
Is this true? Okay, because there's other sports too. There's cross country. If you want a cross country wagon, you're in Lansing, which they even sell field hockey, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. What's
all the different sports?
Anoint.
I agree that when volleyball's in the Olympics or I go to a game, like, it is electric and it is so fun. But I have a soft spot in my heart for the women's soccer team at MSU. They have been doing so phenomenally the last few years. And, made some NCAA runs. I'd love to see them go further. I'd love to see them go all the way in the tournament. And I think I'm going to be biased there and go with women's soccer.
No, that is absolutely A-okay. And so that's it for the hot takes that I had right now. But while I have you guys here, this is our second conversation we've had. So we're basically close friends now. We're on Christmas card list now.
100%.
Absolutely.
I haven't told you this. I'm actually coming over for dinner later tonight. So
perfect.
Fantastic. Good. We're making tacos.
So are we, actually. That's very funny. But now that we are close friends, I feel like I can bring this up. Have you guys ever had a moment, as a husband and wife that you are, as the Spartans that you are, where you've had a disagreement over a game or a Michigan State topic, where you had to leave the room and just be like, I can't even look at you right now? Or are you guys pretty lockstep with all things Michigan State? How heated does it get over at the We Got It podcast household?
I have a specific memory. I think it's
probably is. I don't know if my therapist appointment is scheduled soon enough after this to be.
We'll just do it here. We'll do it right now. That's okay. Just consider this it.
I mean,
the one I'm thinking of is pre-marriage.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
We're on the same page.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And we'll still have arguments about this game to this day multiple times.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I have been petty about it on our podcast already. I think I was this week.
How bad was the pre-marriage one? What was it?
Okay,
Did it almost fracture the relationship?
We weren't actually in the same place. You were living in Chicago at the time.
Okay.
It was bad enough that my very mild-mannered father, who loves Michigan State basketball, we were all together watching March Madness, and he literally made me go outside the house and finish watching the game through the window.
Yeah, I love that. Leave. Leave. What game was it? Do you remember what game it was?
Syracuse, 2019. That zone.
Oh, the 2018. The
yes.
one.
Or sorry,
the game.
No,
one.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, 2018.
Yeah,
Thank
2018.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
We
Unfortunately, I can't forget.
Yeah.
So I mean, it must not have been bad enough that you didn't stick with me, because I didn't have a ring on my finger
I feel like I think any Spartan fan can remember that game with very traumatic memories. I feel like we probably have to share where our disagreement.
Yeah.
Is.
Okay.
You go for it.
I think personally that Tom Izzo coached that game very well.
Okay.
And the game plan was about as good as you could hope for against Syracuse. and they just couldn't make a wide open three to save their life. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was probably a dozen wide open threes that they had to make one of those. They made one of those. Michigan State's probably dancing a lot longer than they were. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know we could go into the Jaren Jackson, Ben Carter debate also in that game. But I'll let Abby kind of share her perspective. I can see her cheeks getting red and that pettiness.
It's been 6 years, I think, and going on 7 this year, and this is still the most contentious topic among state fans. The fact that it's 2 diehard Spartans that are in the same house with differing opinions. I gotta say, that is incredible that you guys have weathered this storm for
Thank you.
Years.
Thank you. Yes.
Even out of real life topics, this is even probably even higher than a lot of those because I still get into it with listeners all the time. No, it was a fine game plan. Ben Carter hit every open player, and then they're like, you're an idiot. They had a lottery pick on. So I'm glad we can boil the blood of Spartan fans as we head into the holidays here. So this is great. Merry Christmas,
exactly everyone. How you should be starting your family conversation. This is how you kick them off. How should Tom Izzo have coached that series?
As everybody's driving to grandma's house and listening to this podcast, the mood is going to be incredible.
I got to pull myself out from underneath the bus a little bit, though. I love Tom Izzo, and I don't disagree with the overall game plan. I just feel like at some point in that game, you got to make one small adjustment. That's my only thing. I'm not saying
you hurt anyone. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but dang it, someone find a plan B out there before I start.
Seemed like Ben Carter was plan A, B, C, and D, and I was done with it.
I almost got banned permanently from being in the confines of Little Caesars Arena. Unfortunately, I was at that game, and not the happiest camper.
I can't imagine if I got kicked out of my own house by my dad. What was
that's tough.
Yeah, security might have walked you out of that building.
That's tough. Guys, this has been a great chat until the end. I'm sorry to rehash horribly just cut open wounds there, and that goes for anyone viewing and listening. If you guys
we'll carry our trauma into the holidays and deal with it then.
Like we do
as every good person does. That's right, folks. Hey, you know what? However we're going to bounce back from that, whether it's a nice cold beverage, whether it's a hot beverage, whether it's just screaming into a pillow, hope we all bounce back and have ourselves a very Merry Christmas, a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy New Year coming up, guys. And guys, thank you so much, Jonah, Abby. You guys are the best. Anything you want to plug here before we let you go and enjoy the holiday season? You guys are the best.
We love being on Locked On Spartans. If you haven't checked out our podcast, not trying to compete in any way, but we are really just here for all Spartan fans, whatever skill level. I think a lot of times, especially women feel really excluded from conversations related to sports. And so we just really want to welcome any Spartan fan, whether you started watching this basketball season or you've been following since the 80s like my dad. We're here for everybody. If
there's any couples out there with similar trauma to me and Abby,
don't come to us. We haven't figured it out.
Don't come to us. We have no answers.
Shoot. Well, guys, you guys are the best. Thank you guys so much. And all the viewers and listeners, again, guys, happy holidays. We will be back. We're going to, tie up any loose ends that we missed between Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Right here, Locked On Spartans. You guys are the best. All right. Love you all. Go green.
Go